Uganda, from the men and women struggling on ground, and they already communicated my and our appreciation, comrades, for all the great work you're putting in and the support you give us every day in every way, financial and otherwise. We salute you, comrades. And yes, I'd also encouraged all of you to keep doing whatever is in your ability to see that we fathom this struggle to liberate this, our motherland. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I also suggested that I don't delve into the problem of Uganda, because you guys in the diaspora, I believe that you are very much aware of the challenges of the problem of Uganda. And that is the reason why many of you are actually not home. And even those that did not get politically, active and concerned about our country, you know that the times you've been in those well-governed countries, in those developed countries, you've learned a thing or two about our country, and you know that we can and must make it better. Now, comrades, talking about our agenda is one, to save our country from misrule, to put an end to the Museveni dictatorship. You know as well as I know that our country would be better if we had accountable leaders, if our leaders were answerable to us, as it is in all those well-governed countries. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So what is our mission? This is a mission to freedom. This is a mission to create a Uganda that we can be proud of, a Uganda that we can be in those countries where you guys are, and be proud to be called a Ugandan, unlike now when we get shy when we are called Ugandans. We want, among many things, to have, a people-centered government, a government that is, a servant leadership, not a bossy leadership, where we guys are going to be the masters of our country and the leaders will be true servants. But right now, it's a vice versa. We want a country that respects the rule of law, where our human rights are upheld, where we know that we matter, where our vote matters, where our voice matters. We've said it before, among the first 5 agenda, missions that we are focusing on is to, have equal access to quality medical services and education, where our children will not be studying far like it is here. We want inclusive economic development, where even we, the Ugandans, benefit from the economic development of our country. As you know right now, ladies and gentlemen, that the so-called investors are the bosses. They give them our land, they give them our money, and yes, we forfeit our own rights for them. We want to, save the remaining of the rights on our land and the natural resources. I cannot tell you enough, because you guys are always on the internet. You know how much of our natural resources are no longer ours. Our gold is not our gold anymore. Our, all the natural resources are not ours anymore. And also, improve or have our absolute freedom from poverty, etc., etc. How do we get this, comrades? We are making a strategic plan. Our main plan is
Mr. Principal, I think
we have.
Mr. Principal,
did I go over?
Yes, your network froze for a little bit. If you can repeat the last 2 sentences, maybe.
Where do you want me to pick it from, comrade?
Right on the last 2 offices, the strategic plan for achieving the challenges that you mentioned in the past. Sure. Thank you.
Allow me sip a coffee. I'm sharing with you as well. Yeah. Sure. Thank you very much. Having talked about our mission and our key points that we want to, achieve. I was talking about our strategy. Our strategy is democracy. Our strategy is not violence. We intend to go into an election well sensitized, well communicated to as a nation. We look at 2021 as a rare opportunity. Therefore, we had to metamorphose from the People Power movement to a national unity platform. We are still the People Power movement. The People Power movement was and still is a mass movement that was aimed at opening the eyes of our people, sensitizing them to realize that indeed power belongs to them. But how do they tap into that power? Having come together with various formations and various Ugandans from different walks of life, here we are. Unfortunately, we were not able, as you all know, we were not able to fully convince all the formations, all the political formations, and therefore we had to introduce the National Unity Platform as a political party that will organize us to go into the election. So the National Unity Platform is our political platform that brings all of us together, especially those of us that are running for office, to be able to implement the ideals that we have in practical sense. Therefore, the National Unity Platform, NUP. Why the NUP, ladies and gentlemen? We are going into government. We are going in government and we needed to be organized, and this is how we are organizing. But most importantly, I might say that even those that are not in the National Unity Platform, for example, we have comrades that belong or lead other political formations, but these are resourceful comrades. These are comrades with whom we share ideals, with whom we share values, and we continue to work with them under the People Power.
I think the principal just either dropped off or lost the network connection again.
So I'm on. Can you hear me, comrades?
Not very clear.
Now,
Comrade Haman.
Yeah.
Yes, you're back now.
I will request you, comrades, to bear with me, please. Our network is not the best, and I want to believe that it is the weather, not the regime tapping into it. So, having said that, comrades, I personally look at this as a golden opportunity. I look at this as the only opportunity that God has given to our generation to put an end to this oppression. As many of us who have been following the events in Uganda, you notice that President Museveni is laying ground for further oppression. He's laying ground for rigging this election. As a matter of fact, he's laying ground to make sure that people don't express their views. As you are aware, the COVID situation has been a golden he has seen this as a golden opportunity to suppress our voices, to stop us from, reaching out to the people. This seems, although it is being counted as an election, but it's more or less a joke, because comrades, we are going into an election where the leader of a country does not allow us even to reach out to the people. Just a day ago, you saw how millions upon millions of people came out to vote in the NRM primaries. But again, a few days ago, Honorable Utamaguzi was arrested. He's reporting mistreatment and torture, all in the name of observing the SOPs of COVID-19. So that being as it is, I must say again that we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because the demographics are on our side. Comrades, people from east to west, from south to north, everywhere we've been, and indeed everywhere that our comrades have been, there is massive support. There's a massive cry for change, and that is what we look at. That is what we hope to tap into, to turn the tables once and for all on Museveni. And I must remind us, comrades, that if we don't succeed now, if we don't do what we must do now, looks like we will be sentencing ourselves to yet another 50 or even more years of dictatorship, because President Museveni and his, and those that feed off his hands seem determined not to allow our voices, to raise. They seem not determined not to allow us at any one moment put an end to the operation that, of course, they profit here from. So with those few words, comrades, I want to thank you. I want to salute you for continuing the fight, for having your country at heart, for not giving up, for giving us energy, for guiding us, for criticizing us whenever it's necessary, and yes, for helping in all ways, financial, moral, etc. Right now, we are meeting, and I celebrate that. I look forward to fruitful deliberations from you, comrades. And again, I want to thank you, the leaders. Guys, you motivate us. We all seem to be learning on the job, because indeed, none of us ever expected some 5 years that we will be here talking about our country. But now that we are here, we must do it and do it all. I thank you, Comrade Hammond. I salute you, and I must also tell you that it was my hope and prayer that I personally, share the duty with other comrades to reach out to you personally, but owing to the COVID-19, we are unable to visit you in your different countries to connect. But I look forward to us connecting even virtually, because after all, I've been saying it and I continue to say it, that it's not about me reaching you physically. For as long as the message reaches you, for as long as we continue the forceful push against the dictatorship, we are definitely going to overcome. So I thank you, and I look forward to fruitful deliberations, ladies and gentlemen. I bring back the microphone to you, team leader, and I salute all of you, friends.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you, principal. Thank you, Honorable Chagulanyi, for that elaborate address. However, I know you tried to summarize that to the best of your abilities. Comrades, if you have any questions, kindly put those questions in the chat room. Madam Grace is going to note them. Nakanja asks, how are you going to deal with many candidates being on the same, running for the same position? That question I think you're very familiar with. We have a situation where candidates are running for the same position in the same constituency. Charles asks, are you going to hold primaries? Again, a question you're familiar with. Galaxy S10 is asking, what shall the diaspora do? Do you want question by question or four questions at a time?
Yeah, sure. I would think maybe two, as to make it this more interactive.
Okay, all right. So if you can respond to those two, and maybe yeah.
Yes, I thank you, Comrade Hammond. Yeah, that was a mind-boggling question right from the beginning, when we called out to people, especially young people in Uganda, to get involved, to run for office. Indeed, it was a massive response. And yes, as you can see, many comrades are running for the same position. Question is, how are we going to deal with that? We established the Election Management Committee to identify the comrades that share the same ideals with us, the People Power and NUP candidates who are running for the same position. And yes, our effort has been to harmonize those comrades, to realize, to remind them, because that's a question that was massively coming from the population. How are we going to handle this? We have greatly succeeded in harmonizing comrades, because yes, much as we have so many comrades running for same positions, I must tell you, comrades, that we have some parts of the country where actually we don't have candidates. So we've been advising comrades to agree so that they run for different positions without necessarily having to clash. But yes, for areas where we've not been able to harmonize those comrades, then we are going to organize primaries, because ultimately we are people power. We don't want to decide from boardrooms. We want this to be decided with the people. Of course, there are some areas where we drew a scoreboard where we also take time to analyze who is the more qualified candidate, who is the more real candidate, etc., etc. But whenever we cannot harmonize these comrades, we are going to be forced to organize primaries in those very problematic areas so that people power prevails.
All right, thank you. The question from Galaxy S10 is asking, what would you like the diaspora to do in preparation for the election, both in preparation for the election and even post-election? How would you like the diaspora to offer support? And then another question from Geoffrey Katumba is what plans on the growing foreign debt in Uganda? Another
the diaspora is already doing so much, and yes, I know you can do much, much more. Keep your eyes and ears home. Keep supporting in any way you can support. We already appreciate, and yes, we shall appreciate more. Keep raising your voices. Keep the cameras on. Keep pressuring your governments. Keep reaching out, and of course, other options are going to come through your leaders, because I might not have all the answers ready now, but keep doing what you have been doing and do some more, comrades. About the growing national debt, of course, that we have a lengthy response to that, courtesy of our policy team. But I must also tell you that there are some of those debts that are being illegally received by President Museveni. We have gone ahead to put those lenders on notice that some of those illegal debts, we are not going to pay them because they are being received illegally.
From Ruth Nyangoma is that what are we going to do for communication, being that we have many languages? I know that we decentralized in a way where we have regional offices now, and maybe the question is asking, can we communicate more on a regional basis as opposed to having communication in one language? And then the other is, how are you going to deal with the comrades? Any ideas or suggestions? This is from Jeff Makanga, who is one of our coordinators in Japan. He's asking how to deal with the people who put their selfish interests first and initially present as part of the struggle. Then maybe I'll add on a third that asks, what is the plan for the high level of youth unemployment? That includes the people in the Middle East and the people who are suffering in the Arabic or, those countries. So those are the three questions. If you'd like me to summarize them again, I can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe before that, I did not respond to the question of you guys in the diaspora and the possibility of taking part in the election. You know that the court ruled that Ugandans in the diaspora and Ugandans in prison are entitled to voting. I must also tell you, comrades, that recently we had a meeting with the Electoral Commission and we raised that issue with the Electoral Commission. And they blatantly told us that it will not be possible because of budgetary constraints. So I regret to inform you, comrades, that the Electoral Commission of Uganda has no intention of making it possible for you to cast your vote for the leaders you want. About regional communication, we are trying as much as possible to take it down to the common people, to communicate to them in the language they most understand. I personally have 4 regional deputies from the north, from the east, from the west, and from central. And it has been a duty bestowed upon the regional deputies to ensure that our message is broken down in the simplest way possible to our lowest people to understand. And indeed, the regional deputies are doing a great job. I want you to salute them for me. Comrade Zedriga, Dr. Zedriga Lina, the Deputy President, Northern Uganda, Comrade Nambeshe John Patrick, the Deputy President, Eastern Uganda, Comrade Jole Mujisha, the Deputy President, Western Uganda, and Comrade Matthias Mpoga, Deputy President, Central Uganda. You ask also about the selfish interests that some comrades put ahead of this struggle. Well, that is an issue we are grappling with, and we hope that these comrades will understand that no matter what position you get, for as long as we are still under the tight grip of General Museveni, it will not matter. I've told them that I am a member of parliament, while many of them are intending to be members of parliament, and it's a do or die for them to become MPs. I am MP already, but I'm not even allowed to walk on the street. So they should know that our battle is bigger than their personal interests. But again, many of them are getting the point, and I hope many of them will get the point further. About youth unemployment, man, that is a big challenge that we have. We have had ideas, we have had thoughts, and we continue to brainstorm with the policy team on how best to go about it. It's a lengthy solution program that, because you asked me to be brief, that I won't go into right now. But again, we are working on it. Our policy team is working around the clock to ensure that we have the solutions by the time we take office.
Thank you very much, Comrade. I'll allow Comrade Grace to ask maybe 2 or 3 questions, you know, that I haven't taken note of, and then we shall maybe have you go ahead and move on with your busy schedule. We can stay and deliberate and get answers. I have some people asking for their teams in the respective countries, and I'll be answering those questions once the principal is done. Madam Grace Chiboneka, do you have any, our moderator, do you have any additional questions?
Yes, thank you for providing the opportunity to add to those questions. We had a question from Australia. Can you hear me, Honorable Chagulanyi? This is Grace Chiboneka.
Sure, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So if you can comment on the issue about transition, we believe that NUP will take the reins of government, but there is a recognition that a lot at the Secretariat are also running for elective office. So 1, can you comment on how you see the transition being managed with that environment? And 2 is a question about youth that are in detention. How are we helping those that are currently in safe houses? What is the plan for that? And the 3rd question, if you may, what avenues could the diaspora be actively engaged in to inform and help shape policy questions, or be more active in shaping policy questions that are being developed in Uganda? There is a sense that those avenues, or there's kind of a bottleneck that diaspora voice is not being heard. Thank you.
Were those relayed, Comrade? Honorable Chagulanyi, are you there?
He should be.
Yeah, he seems frozen.
Thank you very much. Although I did not get the last question. Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, with a terrible delay, but I think it's getting fixed. Just keep going. There's a terrible connection issue. But I need
Kindly
you to
bear with me. I was asked about it. Sure. And I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, that's way better. That's way better.
Yeah. I was asked about the transition. Sure. You can hear me now.
Perfectly, yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we need the transition from a military government to a civilian government. You notice that our country being misruled for the last 35 years, it has been very, very, very heavily damaged. And it's going to take a lot of work from a lot of people, a lot of us. We are a very divided country, very, very divided. Many of the resourceful people are more or less have lost hope in their country. It is going to be tough, but it's going to be possible for us to restore sanity in our country. But for starters, we need to have it as a country. It needs to be a nation. We need to be citizens. That and more, we are going to.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I apologize for the trouble. I don't know. I mean, we can thank you for taking the time off your busy schedule. And we'll be hopefully in touch and arrange something similar with better arrangements like you have ironed out. I will request Comrade Mai to allow people to speak maybe. And now that Comrade Kyagulanyi is off, we can allow a few people to speak and see if that works. But I beg kindly that Madam Grace maybe guides on how we'll move forward. Madam Grace, is your video working?
No, my video failed, but I have audio. I think you can hear me.
We can hear you audibly enough, yes.
Okay. Thank you guys for hanging in there and remaining patient and positive. For anything, I mean, we are trailblazers. You could see in Honorable Kyagulanyi's video how, you know, how much resolved he is. And I think that is really a strong signal, and it inspires, it should be really inspiring to all of us to do the best, the most we can to stand up and walk, even when we are limping or can hardly breathe. So, and those are all words that he passed out way long in his music that keep this fire going and should keep us motivated to do more, even under this small internet glitch that may be probably infiltrated by you know who. So we shall overcome and stay positive. I think there is more to celebrate the fact that we have launched this kind of interaction. We could have done better in so many ways, but there is always a second chance, and hopefully next time it will be better. I have a question. Is it possible to capture the text from the chat so we can pick up the questions there? My thought was maybe if we took out some of the unanswered questions, we could relay them again to Honorable Kyagulanyi at his time. He could probably review those and provide us some thoughts on those questions, so at least they get to be responded to. If not, then I would request that those that are part of our discussion for the remainder of this time is also for people to, if they have a chance to put their hands up and be chosen to speak, to restate their questions so that they are captured in our minutes and in some ways be addressed. Mike, can you guide on whether we can pick up the text from the chat as a part of our record?
Unfortunately, it's a little disorganized. I'm going to pick a few, but in the meantime, if you guys allow, we can pick the hands that are raised.
Okay.
I see a few hands that are raised here. If I'm definitely going to pick people who have. Hold on just a second. Sorry, I was trying to bring back Haman. So, Grace, you start with, I think let's start with, there is Agnes Kaziba. I hope you're on. You want to do that, Grace? See those hands that are up so I can.
Yeah, I'm in the screen here, and yeah, so I think Agnes, you can briefly state what you would like to share with the group, and if there is a specific question you would have wished for the principal to address that wasn't addressed, please restate it and be brief. Thank you.
Agnes?
Yes.
If Agnes is not around, then there is Walter James Okello. I'm going to unmute you.
So please state your question and any quick submission briefly.
Okello, you're on.
Yes, very good evening to all. My name is James from India. My question is about MPs who have served more than 2 terms and they are crossing over from other parties to NUC. How are we going to deal with those MPs? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Okello. We are not responding to your question, but we want to hear what your issue is, and hopefully we can get those summarized and have the principal address, and we'll have a mechanism of sharing that information. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I will request the team leaders also, if you're here. I know Comrade Jaja Ibu in South Africa is here. The respective team leaders, if we can, you know, if you can somehow let us know if you're available, we'll have you say a word or two before we disperse. We'll be here for another 10-15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes before we close, Madam Grace, if that's okay with you.
Yes, thank you for checking on that time, Mr. Team Leader. Okay, Ms. Mai, would you please identify anyone else?
Who are some of the team leaders?
I will. I will. Yeah, I will be reading out them. I will be reading them out, and then I'll call upon them to say a word or two. Chris Sam from Bahrain, Jaja Ibu from South Africa are on, and then
I don't know their usernames.
I will relay that to you. I will relay that to you.
So many hands up. I don't even know where to start from.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Get me some of the names for the leaders.
Okay.
Yes, Jaja Ibu would like to submit.
What's his username? If you
Musoke Lule.
Okay, Mr. Musoke Lule, unmute. There he goes.
Submit. Yes, hello comrades. I greet you all wherever you are. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It is sad that I missed the most part of the principal's address. Of course, we were launching. Can I have some silence, please? Silence. Sorry, comrades. It is sad that we are having some. I missed the most part of the principal's address today. We were launching the NUP cards in South Africa, and this exercise was taking place in all provinces in South Africa. But of course, my call to all people, especially us in the diaspora, is to play our part. Many of us, we want change, and this is actually the same thing that I said to colleagues here, that we want change. But before you ask yourself, before you say you want to change, first ask yourself, what submission, what contribution have you made to make sure that that change is realistic? It is going to take more than just a word. it is going to take more than just posting on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever social media platform. It is going to take involvement. We as leaders in the diaspora, we are reaching out to people, and some people, they think they are doing us a favor to be able to make a contribution to this struggle. You are not doing Jaja Igbo a favor, you are not doing Haman a favor, you are not doing any coordinator or a leader anywhere. You are doing a favor to yourself. You are actually favoring yourself. So therefore, I appeal to all colleagues in the diaspora, wherever they are, whoever that is listening, please, let's get involved. Our main contribution actually that we can add to the struggle back home is to contribute financially, logistically, and all kinds of contributions, especially financially. I'm in South Africa today, but this country where we are, it was one time in a situation like the one that is taking place in Uganda. There was a time when black people were actually marginalized. They were treated like third-class citizens. For you to travel from a country, place, where here they call it locations, but in America, I understand they call them a country. For you to be able to travel from the country to go to town, you required a visa. And that visa, it had an expiry time, whereby if you were found in town after the expiry time of that visa, you were actually going to be imprisoned. Okay? In your own country, but it took the people like Nelson Mandela, Robert Sobukwe, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo to come together and say enough is enough. Fellow comrades, I'm encouraging, I'm mobilizing all of us in the diaspora to come out and make a contribution. Reach out to your area coordinator, reach out to everybody, to reach out to your area leader, in every structure where you are, make a contribution to make sure that this struggle is realistic. We are not going to drive, we are not going to sit down and say, we want to change. Museveni again, Museveni is not going to Uganda with the Bigambo. Museveni is not going to Uganda with the Bigambo. We have launched these cards in the diaspora. Reach out to your area coordinator, buy these cards. You are not buying this card because of just for the sake of buying. You are actually making a contribution. There are so many ways of making a contribution. We are having a monthly fundraising here in South Africa, and I understand it is taking place in Boston and other areas in the diaspora. Please reach out, make a contribution, however little it is. Small by small, it makes something. Omuganda agamba kamuka mugwe Muganda. So therefore, colleagues, I don't want to waste too much time, but this is my humble appeal to every one of us in the diaspora. Let's contribute to the struggle. Let's contribute, especially financially, to the struggle. That is how we are going to be able to achieve the goal. That's how we are going to be able to get to achieve this change that we so badly need, that we are yearning for, that we have been longing for a very long time. I salute you all for God and my country. People power, our power. NUP, collective, NUP. Comrade team leader, I would love to call my colleagues to come here in front of the camera so that we can say hi to fellow colleagues all over the world. People power. People power. People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. NUP. Everywhere. South Africa. Everywhere. When I say, you say everywhere, you say NUP. South Africa. NUP. Johannesburg. NUP. Tabani. NUP. Limpopo.